It's week 3 of the 2019 college football season, and a couple of days ago on Tuesday, I did a preview and prediction for every SEC team. Then yesterday we ran through the top 25, and I gave you a preview and a prediction for all those matchups coming up this weekend. There's a few games left over that didn't fit in either one of those categories that I think are kind of interesting. We got a couple of conference games. We got some conference versus conference games, Big 10 versus Big 12, that kind of thing. And can the Miami Hurricanes get their first win of the season? We're going to find all that out in today's video right now.
We about to turn it
Yeah, good morning, and that's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right, it's me, Uncle Lou, and I'm live for you on LouTube today. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And in addition to all that as well, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I post these videos every single day of the year. Sometimes they're watchable, sometimes they're not. That determination is left up to you. Give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for week 3 of the college football season, which kicks off Friday this week. Doesn't cost you any money to do it. Doesn't take you hardly any time at all. Hit that thumbs up. As usual, all the numbers, the spreads, the odds, the money lines, all those kinds of things that I talk about in today's video are going to come straight from the website over at betnow.eu. For the second year in a row, they're sponsoring all these preview and prediction videos that I do. Click the link in the description of this video. It'll take you over to that site and you can get yourself set up. It's real easy to do. Name, email address, the usual stuff. When you sign up over there and make your first deposit, they're going to give you a 100% bonus on whatever you deposit if you enter the promo code Uncle Lou. That's one word, Uncle Lou. They're going to double your deposit. So you put $100 in there, $200 shows up in your account. You put $50 in there, $100 shows up. It's simple math. Even the South Carolina fans that are watching can figure it out. Head on over to betnow.eu, get yourself set up, make some money gambling on college football. All right, here we go. No Thursday games this week. I've mentioned that a couple of times already, but we do have a couple of Friday games that I think are worth watching. North Carolina plays on a Friday. Man, the ACC's got to quit doing this. It's the dumbest thing. They're contractually obligated with ESPN to provide them with a certain number of Friday night conference games during the season, which is absolutely ridiculous. Why? You see a lot of big upsets during the week. These teams should not be playing during the week, in my opinion. You got North Carolina. They have to go on the road and play Wake Forest. Now, I know what you're thinking. North Carolina's looked pretty good. They beat South Carolina in a neutral site game. They beat Miami last week at home. Surely they can beat Wake Forest. Well, maybe they can, and I do think North Carolina is the better team. The problem is this is a Friday night game, and they're going to play on the road. And if you just look back over recent history, we see a ton of upsets in these situations here. Now, Wake Forest is favored by 3 in this game, and for some reason, unbeknownst to me or anybody with any rhyme, reason, or logic, this game comes on at 6 o'clock on Friday over on ESPN. North Carolina at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, a 3-point favorite. Now, they're undefeated, too, at 2-0. They struggled to beat a bad Utah State team 38-35, and then they beat Rice, another terrible team, last week 41-21. Most of you, I'm sure, know what North Carolina have done with close wins over South Carolina in week 1 and Miami in week 2. North Carolina, obviously, with the more impressive resume so far, having wins over 2 Power 5 teams, whereas Wake has struggled to beat 2. Well, they didn't really struggle in the Rice game, but, I mean, come on, 38-35 to Utah State. Pitiful. Now, this is North Carolina's first real road game of the season. Neutral site week 1, home game against Miami week 2. And they've got a true freshman quarterback. He's played well. He's been efficient. We'll see how he reacts here. Sort of his first hostile crowd. Week 1 was sort of a 50-50 deal played in Charlotte between North Carolina and South Carolina. So this is first true road test here. I'm a buyer on North Carolina. I think they're going to continue to improve week to week. Sam Howell, the quarterback there, has really impressed me, true freshman, especially in the fourth quarter. Not that he's lighting it up or putting up huge numbers in the fourth quarter, but he's steady, calm, relaxed. He doesn't get any of the nerves that you sometimes associate with freshman quarterback play. He seems to be pretty steady in the fourth quarter. I'm actually going to take North Carolina here on the money line. I don't even want the 3 points. If you're wondering what that means, and you can see on the bottom all the numbers there, Wake Forest is a 3-point favorite. So I can take UNC and the 3 points, which means all I would have to do to win the bet is have North Carolina lose by less than 3 or win, right? So if North Carolina lost the game by 1, 21-20, I would win the bet if I took North Carolina and the 3. The last number you see over there is the money line number. I'm going to take North Carolina on the money line. That means I'm taking North Carolina to win the game straight out. And as you can see, the odds are a little better if you play the money line. So you get more return on the money that you risk if you play the money line because you're taking more of a risk. Anyway, give me the Tar Heels to win outright. Oh, man, how about a terrible Kansas team? So disappointing last week against Coastal Carolina. They start the season off 1-0. Didn't look all that impressive, but again, it's Kansas. Any win they get is impressive if you look at what they've done over the last few years. And then you say, well, they found a way to win week 1, first game under Les Miles, without their best player, running back Puka Williams. Surely they're going to win at home in week 2 against a terrible Coastal Carolina team when they get that best player back, Puka Williams. And he played okay, 99 yards running, but Kansas has no passing game at all. They couldn't get the ball down the field. They didn't score a single point after the first quarter of that game, and they lost to Coastal Carolina. I'm officially off the Kansas train. Won't be playing them anymore. They looked epically bad in that game. They've got a pretty good defense, maybe. It's not like they've given up a whole bunch of points. In fact, they haven't given up very many points at all, but their offense has just been bordering on non-existent. You look at Boston College, of course, they're 2-0. They're a 21-point favorite in this one, 7:30 on the ACC network. Boston College leads the nation in turnover margin. They've got 7 takeaways already on the year, and they've got A.J. Dillon, one of the best running backs in the ACC, not named Travis Etienne. The guy's fun to watch. If you haven't seen him play, check this game out Friday night, 7:30 on the ACC network. Kansas got to go on the road for the first time. Boston College, way better than Kansas. Best player on the field, A.J. Dillon, Boston College. And their quarterback has looked pretty good too. He's shown the ability to stretch the field. He's got several big downfield plays in the passing game. I just think Boston College is way too much here for Kansas. 21 is a lot of points. You'd like this a lot more if it was at 20. But I'm still going to take the Eagles. Give me Boston College, late of 21. All right, we'll move on to the Saturday games. And, of course, these are going to go in chronological order. So we'll start with some early games and work our way through the schedule that day up until some night games. NC State on the road at West Virginia. ACC versus Big 12 here. NC State, are they the second best team in the ACC? I don't think so, but they're 3 or 4 maybe. They're a 7-point road favorite here against West Virginia. 12 o'clock Saturday over on FS1. NC State 2-0, West Virginia 1-1, and has not looked good. Barely beat a terrible FCS James Madison. Not terrible for FCS. I don't want to insult the James Madison, but no business competing with the Power 5, but they did. Almost lost that game, but West Virginia won it. Then you got blown out last week by a Missouri team that got blown out or beat the week before by Wyoming. So is Missouri any good? I thought Missouri was going to be good heading into the season and to lose to Wyoming, but then they show up and beat the hell out of West Virginia. But West Virginia barely beat James Madison. So who the hell knows? We'll see. Of course, you got Kelly Bryant there. But anyway, this is an NC State, West Virginia preview, not Missouri. NC State, great defense, great at getting to the quarterback, which is bad news for a West Virginia team that struggled to protect Austin Kendall back there. Some people thought Austin Kendall was going to have a pretty good year. He doesn't have any time back there. He's running for his life half the time. NC State, clearly the better team here. They beat East Carolina and Western Carolina, so they're 2-0. They've only allowed 6 points all year. Defense playing great. Offense, they'll do enough here to beat West Virginia for sure. I'm going to take the Wolfpack, NC State, and lay that 7 points. Air Force at Colorado, an in-state game. Not much of a rivalry. They haven't played in a long time. They used to play a lot, and there was a dispute 40, 50 years ago. Some protests involving the Vietnam War were going on at Colorado, and of course, Air Force is Air Force, a military academy, and Air Force said, that's it, we're never playing Colorado again. Well, fast forward to 2019, and they've changed their mind. They're going on the road to play a red-hot Colorado Buffaloes team. Air Force is 1-0 with a win over Toothpaste, Colgate. Okay, great. Colorado 2-0. Big win over Nebraska last week in overtime and blew out in-state rival Colorado State in week 1. Mel Tucker, first-year head coach, and he's off to a great start. The problem, if you're a Colorado fan or if you're looking at this Colorado team, they were off to a great start last year too. How'd that end up? Not very well. They fired their coach, just completely fell apart at the end of the season. So we'll see if they can sort of keep this early season momentum going this time around with a new coaching staff in there. I mentioned the win over Nebraska, whipping Colorado State. They've got one of the most exciting and best wide receivers in all of college football with that Laviscus Chenault, or whatever his name is. Again, I don't name these players. Generally speaking, their parents are the ones that do that. It's just my job to try my best to pronounce them wrong. And I'm pretty sure with Laviscus Chenault, I have accomplished my job. Colorado's only a 4.5-point favorite here. Air Force going to run the ball a lot, try to slow the game down. I think Colorado can score enough here to win by more than 4.5, 7 to 10 points, somewhere in that range. Give me the Buffalo ladies points. Another military academy game. Army coming off amazing game really last week against Michigan in a lot of different ways for both teams. Kind of strange how that game went. People not giving Army near enough credit. Dogpiling on Michigan, not understanding that Army is a pretty good team. I mean, haven't they won 10 of their last 11 games? Yeah, they had won 10 straight before losing to Michigan. Well, who did they play, Lou? Well, they beat Houston in a bowl game 70-14 last year. So, I mean, listen, the point is Army's a pretty good team. They won 11 games last year, finished the season ranked. They've won 10 or more games 3 years in a row, won 3 bowl games in a row. They took Oklahoma to overtime the year before. Am I trying to convince you that Michigan's a great team? No, but it's not because they went to overtime with Army. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Give Army some credit. They're a really, really good team. They're well coached. They're disciplined. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes. They force a lot of turnovers. UTSA, on the other hand, not a good team at all. They gave up 368 yards rushing to Baylor. That's not good when you got to play Army. All they do is run the ball. That's it. They're going to run it down UTSA's throat here. Army's a 17-point favorite in this one. Give me the Knights, the Black Knights. Is that what it is? Doesn't matter. Give me Army. Lato's 17. I'm liking a lot of favorites on this video, but I took UNC on the money line, though, so that kind of offsets it maybe. But how about this one here? Man, I'm going to watch some of this game, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Oklahoma State on the road at Tulsa, 3:30 on ESPN2. Oklahoma State's a 13.5-point favorite in this one. They're 2-0, right? Tulsa's 1-1. You've heard me talk a bunch of times when talking about Michigan State and how good their defense is, that they held a team in week 1 to negative 73 yards rushing. That team was Tulsa, okay? Now, Oklahoma State, air raid, throw the ball around, typical Big 12 offense, doesn't play the greatest defense in the world. They don't need the greatest defense to beat Tulsa, though. Tulsa's been pretty bad this year, haven't looked good. Tulsa had a few good years, 4, 5, 6 years ago, putting up a lot of points. That ain't the same Tulsa team anymore. Oklahoma State should roll in this game. They're a 13.5-point favorite. I love Oklahoma State less than 2 touchdowns here. Give me the Cowboys. Lato's 13.5. And I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, some breaking news for next week's games. Oklahoma State is not on, they're 2-0. They're going to be 3-0 after they beat Tulsa on the road this week. And guess what? After next week, they're going to be 4-0. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, guess who they play? I give you 2 guesses. Go. Yeah. All right. Miami's 0-2 for the first time since 1978. No way they go 0-3, right? Right. They host BethuneCookman. It's not happening. Miami's a 41.5-point favorite. You're thinking, how's that possible? How's that possible? Is Miami a great team? No. BethuneCookman is that bad, though. I'm actually going to take Miami and lay the 41.5 here. I think Miami can put up 50, maybe 60 points in this game. That's how bad BethuneCookman is. And I don't think they'll take many of their starters out. I don't think they can afford to. Those guys need the work. They need to get better. I'm sure they'll take them out at some point in the fourth quarter, but this isn't going to be like a Georgia or Alabama type situation where they're up by 30 in the third quarter, so they take all the starters out. I think starters play the majority of the game here. Give me the Hurricanes at home. Probably be 20,000 people at this game. Nobody goes to these Miami games. It's hilarious to me. But give me the Hurricanes, lay to 41.5. Cinderella story, Georgia State off to a remarkable 2-0 start, beat Tennessee. Of course, week 1, we all remember that, hashtag 38-30 though, in 2 and also. And then last week, a big come from behind victory to Furman. And you know, you looked at Georgia State last week and you said, well, maybe they're better than Furman, but man, that huge win at Tennessee, that's probably going to catch up with them this week. Too much celebrating during the weeks. Furman probably catch up, sneak up on them and beat them. And it looked like that was going to be the case during the first half of that game. Georgia State came out real sluggish, and Furman was beating them the first part of that game. But give Georgia State credit. They came back and won the game. They got to go on the road this week to Western Michigan, 7 o'clock on ESPN+, so you can only watch this one online or on the app some type of way. Western Michigan's an 8.5-point favorite. This game opened up with Western Michigan as an 11-point favorite. I would have considered taking Georgia State in 11 points. You know, the 10 is sort of a good betting number. Just get over that. I would like it. 8.5. I don't know. Georgia State's a great story. It's so bad last year. Picked to finish dead last in their conference. Open up the season with a huge win against an SEC opponent on the road. Come from behind win week 2. I mean, they've already won almost as many games as they won last year, right? Or as many. It's going to catch up with them at some point. I think it's going to be this week. I don't think Georgia State wins this game on the road at Western Michigan. I wish the number would go back up to 10, but it's probably not. It's probably going to stay around this 8.5 number. I would probably take Western Michigan, to be honest. If you want to ride the wave, take Georgia State. I'll probably stay away from this game, though. How about the Big 10 versus the Big 12? Of course, last year TCU played Ohio State in a neutral site game. This year, TCU plays on the road at Purdue, 7:30 Big Ten Network. TCU's a 2.5-point favorite in this one. They're 1-0, had an off week last week. Purdue, they've looked shaky this year outside of Rondale Moore. I mean, listen, I told you guys all offseason, this Rondale Moore is an unbelievable kid to watch play football. He's got almost 350 yards already through just 2 games, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's a lot of fun to watch. Problem is, he's really the only thing Purdue has. And now, the guy that's responsible for getting Rondale Moore the ball, the Purdue quarterback, is in the concussion protocol. Don't know if he's going to play or not this week. My guess would be that he doesn't. They're just really sensitive about head injuries nowadays, and they err on the side of caution. My guess would be that he sits this one out. TCU's a 2.5-point road favorite in this one. TCU, Gary Patterson, been there forever, one of the most consistent teams in the Big 12 over the last 10 to 15 years. One of the only teams in the Big 12 that consistently puts effort forward on defense. I'm going to take the road team here. I hate to do that. I hate to take road favorites, but 2.5 is a good number to me. I like that, just under the 3 there. Give me TCU on the road, late at 2.5. Texas Tech at Arizona. Might be 1 million points scored in this game. Neither one of these teams cares about defense at all, and both of them love to score a lot of points. 10:30 on ESPN. Texas Tech is a 2-point favorite. Texas Tech has almost 700 yards passing in their first 2 games. Arizona beat Northern Arizona last week, 65-41. The week before that, they lost to Hawaii in a shootout where almost 100 points were scored. I'm not going to play these shootout type games where a lot of times it comes down to whoever gets the ball last. 2-point game, 2-point margin. I'm not going to play that. Texas Tech 2-point favorite. This really could be, whoever gets the ball last wins type of thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the over here. I think this is going to be a track meet. I think there could be 100 points scored in this game. Give me the over on Texas Tech at Arizona. All right, there you go. That's it for the preview and prediction videos for this week. We did the SEC on Tuesday. We did the top 25 yesterday, which was Wednesday. And we ran through another list of games today that didn't fit either of those 2 categories, but that were interesting to me or suggested by people over on the Patreon page. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Be sure and comment down below. Let me know where I'm wrong. Which games do you agree with? Which ones do you disagree with? Are you going to watch any of these games? Do any of these games excite you this coming up weekend? All right, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a good morning.